Hi Flosstube, Ashley here, coming to you guys with another WIP update. 1 week late. I am trying so hard to do weekly, but of course, school finally started. I've been loving it, but then we all got sick. So here we are. If I cough, I'm so sorry, but I really need to get this video out. So without further ado, let's dive right in. We have a lot of counted stitching. I only have a couple of stamped kits that I worked on. Everything else has been counted. I've been fully invested in counted lately, especially with the kids starting school again, which has been really nice. So first things first, let's go ahead and start with one of my counted projects that is an oldie, or kind of like a midi, I guess. This is called the Alice Sampler. It's from Candle and Needle on Etsy. And I'm just going to zoom in so you can't see any of the pattern. It's called Alice in Wonderland. And this is super, super cute. And this is actually one of my favorite older projects. Now this got spun for one of my my prompt wheels, and I haven't worked on it in a while. It's got one of my favorite fabrics, you know, that I've dyed myself. It kind of reminds me of like cotton candy. It's super wrinkled. It's been in the bag, but here is where it is. And I am stitching this 3 strands 10 stitch. Now most people, I wouldn't say most people, counted projects that are not full coverage are normally meant to be stitched full across. I, however, I'm so in love with 10 stitch that I'm okay with stitching some samplers in 10 stitch, even though it is changing the way the finished product looks. For example, like this, this border definitely is not supposed to look like that. It is supposed to, where did I just put my phone? It is supposed to look like, zoom in for you, and it'll fix in just a second. It is supposed to look like that. So that versus this. So it does change the finished look of the pattern, and I'm totally okay with that because I much prefer the look of 10 stitch and the speed of 10 stitch, so that it's fine. The problem with this one is I only did about 20 stitches before I realized that there's a dye lot issue in my floss. So I normally stitch with either DMC or CXC or a mixture between the two, and normally it's not a problem for me. However, I have several skeins of CXC floss of 820 for this in the bag, separated, so that way, because this is all going to be 820. But this is the one time I've actually run into this problem because this is all one color. It's easily noticeable. You can tell the difference between the two different dye lots, and this is what I mean. So I stitched this small little section right here. Now all of this was stitched before, but I ran out of the skein, and this small little section right here has a different tone of 820. It's a tiny bit darker. Now here's my problem. I can't get 820, or I can't get CXC floss anywhere here. I have to order it online and wait 3 weeks or so to get it. So I don't really know what to do. I thought about taking this to the craft store and see if I can color match the tone of the 820 to potentially like a 796 or something like that, because this 820 doesn't specifically match the DMC 820. Here is the difference. It's way, way darker. So most of the time, CXC and DMC transfer without a problem. But I have noticed that some greens and blues have a little bit different of a tone, or a little darker or a little lighter. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put this on hold, and I'm going to do an order for some CXC floss on AliExpress. And order just a bunch of 820s, so I know that they're from all the same order. So that way, if it does end up being a different tone, it's whatever, I learned my lesson, but the rest of the project will be the same tone. So most of your eye will be drawn to the remaining of the project and not the small little like piece. So that's my goal for this one, but I was super upset because I wanted to stitch this one. It was part of the prompt that I had pulled, but it just didn't work out. So I got 20 stitches on Alice in Wonderland. Gosh dang it. So there's that one. Not very much stitching, but a lesson learned that if I'm going to stitch a project all in one color, I need to make sure to order an abundance of the same color floss so I don't run out. And all from the same order, so it's all the same thing. So another Alice in Wonderland. If you haven't noticed a theme, Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite Disney movies, and I actually did not like Alice in Wonderland as a little kid, but I've actually grown to love Alice in Wonderland as an adult. So that being said, me and a couple of my friends, Sally and Abby, we every year do a stitch along where we buy a soda stitch pattern of one of the Disney movies, the Disney movie samplers, and we break it out into 12 different pieces and stitch like one section a month. Well, we recently did Peter Pan, although I never finished Peter Pan. I'm still finishing it because I was way behind. And then before that, it was The Little Mermaid. So this one is Alice in Wonderland. And let me find a photo. I don't know if I've saved this one. So I have all of my pictures of all my projects in my phone. And I don't know if I saved this one in my folder yet, so I gotta just go to my files really fast because I recently have it. I just have to find there we go, the cover page. So this is a Soda Cross Stitch design on Etsy. I'm gonna zoom in really fast. And this is what it looks like as soon as it, there we go. This is what it looks like. Ta-da! So we are starting, the first section is just right here, and I finished it, hooray! I did not want white fabric though, so I actually dyed some fabric. This is a 14 count Aida, and it's got only a tiny bit of marbling in it. I didn't want it to take away from the pattern because the pattern is pretty busy, so I didn't want too much like going on the fabric. But I have finished the Cheshire Cat, and I have the back stitches completely done here, but I didn't do any back stitch right here because this section isn't finished yet. So so anyway, there is that one. Just set that aside. Next up, I'll do a stamped kit. This one is Nesta. This is in my shop, my Etsy shop, which I will link in the description down below. This is called The Look of Revenge, although it is based off of the character Nesta from A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I absolutely love her. She, one of my favorite characters in the book. Let me move all the threads out of the way, and then I will show you the whole thing and then show you what I ended up stitching. So here, are you okay? Yeah. Okay. So here's the whole thing. Sorry I have a bunch of hanging threads. Last time I had talked about her, I had finished like up her hair right here. So this time what I did is I had already stitched this section right here. I stitched all of this section to connect all of the sections together. So that being said, let me move all of the hanging threads out of the way. This is what I've stitched. I got a really good sports stitching session, so I basically stitched this whole thing in a matter of like 3 hours. So it's looking really, really good. This is the top of the cauldron. This is the water. This is her hair meeting the water, and then the back of the cauldron. So it's just meeting up with the hair right here. Next section I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on her neck. I want this section right here to be filled in. So I'll be doing this one next if it gets called again. This was a wheel spin call. So, and I think I had, yeah, I did start a little bit on it. There's a little bit of stitching right there. Let me cover up there we go, right there. But I didn't get too far. So this was like a fair bit of stitching, and I was done after that. But again, sorry for all of the hanging threads, but this is the whole thing so far. She is gorgeous. She is looking so good compared to the pattern. Now on my Etsy shop, I create the images and then the counted cross stitch pattern, but I also provide the JPEG image as well in case you want to take that image to go have a stamped kit created. So I then took the JPEG image and gave that to Fansels to have the custom kit created for Nesta, and 90% of the stamped kits I have of my own designs. I really like Fansels for a creator, for a printing company. So there is Nesta. Next up we have a new start. So actually I'll wait to show the new start because there's a little bit of like lead in. So last video I had a new start, and it was my new stained glass raven that I just recently created. Now again, on my shop. All of my own designs are on my shop, unless I specifically say otherwise. Can you tell it's morning time? So this is the stained glass, actually it's a crow technically, but here we are. And I started this last time, and I had just done like a bunch of the black last time you saw it. This time I filled in a bunch of the color, so of course you're gonna have a ton of hanging threads. Very confetti heavy because you have all this color to fill in, but it is looking so good. You got some purples and grays, blues and greens in here, and it's looking really good. So what do you need help with? So yeah, so this is looking really good. This is 18 count Aida that I'm using 3 strands 10 stitch for. So I really love this one, but I definitely have to be in the mood for this one because it is very confetti heavy. So what I do is I just stitch some black if I'm not in the mood for some of the color, and then I come back and fill in some of the color. So there is that one. Now let's go into the new start. So I created this pattern, and then I was like, you know, it'd be super cool if I did a bat. I'm really into like spooky, beautiful bats. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna start creating some more stained glass patterns. So I created a bunch of stained glass patterns, put them on my Etsy shop, but I specifically made this one and I fell in love with this one. So this is a stained glass bat. And of course I couldn't start anywhere else except the eye because the eye is so colorful. So let me take it out of the hoop because it is kind of right on the edge there. Again, this is very confetti heavy because you have all those rainbow colors, but try and move all the hanging threads out of the way. This one is stitched on, this is 14 count Aida. Yeah, this one's stitched on 14 count Aida that I hand dyed. It's not necessary to hand dye this fabric, especially since this is the full coverage pattern, but sometimes I like it to be dyed just so it's pretty where I'm stitching it. It's a little bit different than stitching on a plain white piece of fabric. So try and fold it in a way that's like easy to show, and will also hold all this hanging threads out of the way because I stitched the eye to start, and so I have a lot of hanging threads. Okay, there we go. Tuck away all the hanging threads. So this is my new start, and I just went absolutely crazy with this one. So the eye is completely finished. No, I take that back. There are like a couple of small little spots right there and small little spots right here that are not completed in this eye, and then a couple around. Other than that, that colorful rainbow eye is finished. So this one's a little bit different for me too, because not only is it a 14 count full coverage, which I am not used to doing. I am normally an 18 or 16 count girl. But I decided to use 3 strands with this one. So I normally use 3 strands on my 18 count 10 stitch. This one I decided to use 14 count Aida with 3 strands 10 stitch, so it's stitched exactly the same as my 18 count. I wanted it to be fairly thin when stitching, kind of dainty looking and feeling. I wanted it to be easy to stitch. So I normally would use 4 strands on a 14 count Aida, but this time I used 3 strands, and I'm actually totally digging it. The black is a little bit see-through, but when I look at it in person, it's really not that bad. And once I get everything completely filled out, you're not going to notice that. You're just going to notice the regular, just the picture in general. So like when I look at this, I go directly to the eye. I don't even look at like a tiny bit of the fabric showing. So yeah, this is a fair bit of stitches for a new start, especially for me. Normally when I start something, I get about 300 stitches and that's about it. So, but I really wanted to get this eye done, and I've already gone over to start doing the other eye. So this one, yeah, absolutely loving this one. So there is that one. And let's see, next up we have Crackling Witch. Crackling Witch, again, pattern by me, and I am stitching this with Emma in the UK, and here is this one. As soon as the light is good, but then I have to like have it dim so that I can actually show you. So here's this one, and what I have done with this one is I filled in some of the corner, a little bit more of the corner, and now I'm headed towards her face. I really want to see her face come to life. So last time I showed you, I was just kind of like right here. Well, this time I did this section right here, and then I took one of the colors and started trailing it off to go to her face. So yeah, I really want to see her face appear, and her face is like right here or thereabouts here. So I'm headed down. I really want to see some of the faces like appear in some of my patterns, just to make sure like everything's looking good, because I am a new Etsy shop, and I don't have a ton of like samples of what my patterns look like stitched, and so I'm headed there myself. But yeah, this one is turning out super good so far. Next up we have Steampunk Frog Fairy. So I hadn't done very much. I just started the eye on this one last time I showed it, so I've gotten a ton of progress done on this one. So here's a Steampunk Frog Fairy. I absolutely love frogs, one of my favorite animals. And so this one's totally my jam. And again, with that same theme that I really want to start getting some of my faces stitched up to see how they stitch up. And there's a ton of hanging threads here. Ta-da! So last time I only had like a couple stitches in her eye and like this line right here, and that was it. But look at her now. I am so in love with her. Sorry, my light's doing all kinds of crazy things. So she's got a cute little button nose, and her lips are almost completely done. There's still like a little bit of missing stitches right in here, but her eye is done. This part of her face is done. You can even see some of her freckles, which is super cool. And so now I am just headed to filling in some more of her face right here, and then I'll start doing her other eye. Oh, excuse me. So I have no cares in regards to carrying thread. If it's easier for me to just carry it and park it, then I do so. That being said, all of these are just parked from over here. I just carried them over and I didn't care how far. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you my back, because it's a story in itself. But this one is stitched on 18 count 8 out using 3 strands tent stitch, and just plain white fabric, because I was excited to start this one. So here is my back. Like I said, I carry all over the place. I do not care, and that's just like how I roll. So all of these threads are headed over here to her eye, because her eye is very confetti heavy. The more colors, the more realistic, unfortunately, most of the time. So yeah, she's doing really good. Yep, super pleased with her. Next up we have the Flossy Fox Shop flower flower dragon Sal. I always struggle with the name of that for some reason. All of the information will be in the description box down below. Every single video, I just can't seem to remember the name of the Sal. But here we are. So I am a little bit behind on this one. The new part of this Sal comes out tonight. She does say the 10th, but she normally tends to release it like the night before, so tonight sometime, Pacific Standard Time. So I'm a little bit behind. So I was on the struggle bus last night trying to get caught up. Last night I had 1878 left, so 1,878 stitches left, and I stitched 669, I think. So I have like 1,200-ish left over to get caught up. So this is going to be my focus for today. So far, I finished this one on time. This one, I don't think I'm gonna finish on time. I think I will be a little bit short. I don't think I can stitch 1,200 stitches in a day, at least not on a counted. That's full cross for me. That's just not really feasible. If it was 10 stitch, yes, but that's okay. I'm at least getting close, so that's totally fine. Last time I had showed it, I was basically kind of right here. I had the outline of the leg and the tail, but I hadn't filled in any of it. So I filled in all of this. I started going back over my 10 stitches. I still have a couple left. I like to take one color and 10 stitch it, and then that way I don't have to use my phone and I can just go back over it. And it's a little bit easier than staring at my phone and then stitching, staring at my phone, stitching, especially if it's just a bulk color. So I just stitch it, 10 stitch, and then shut my phone off and then kind of go back over it while mindlessly watching TV or listening to an audiobook or something. So I did some of that. I started stitching in this dark purple. I started filling in this dark purple around the collar, which is so cute. This so far is my favorite dragon out of the two. You got this dragon, which is like a wisteria dragon, I believe is the name of it. Or maybe this is wisteria. I don't remember. This is a pink dragon, this purple dragon. Purple dragon is my favorite so far. But this one, anyway, and then I just filled in all of this like medium purple in the tail. There's like 6 more stitches left of it down here, and then this like medium purple is done. And then I have a bunch of all the little critters around the outside. So that being said, I will go ahead and show you what the pattern look like, because I just realized I forgot to show you what the pattern is. Silly me. If I put it in here. Flower. Full grid. Does it show it? Flower Dragon Meadow is the name of the pattern. I am just looking for the file with the actual like mock-up. Nope. So the pink dragon is Cherry Blossom and the purple dragon is Wisteria. There we go. And then, yeah, I don't know if I have this phone on, my stitching phone. No, I don't. Dang. Let me see. Hold on. I really want to find that image so I don't have to like edit it in. There we go. Here's her email. You can see if I can pull it up with the full image of what it looks like. And then I need to save it. No, I can't. I'll find it later. So around this like purple dragon is a bunch of like little flowers and like little critters and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I don't really like stitching full cross, but for Flossie Fox shop I will stitch full cross. That's pretty much one of the only designers I'll stitch full cross for. But anyway, it's turning out super good. My favorite dragon so far. The next one to be released, which is today, will be I just had the release schedule up, will be Sunflower. And so the Cherry Blossom, which is like the pink dragon, was written in like a red color. And then the dragon ended up being pink. The Wisteria dragon was written in purple, and it just happens to be a purple flower, or a purple dragon. Sunflower is written in blue, so I wonder if it's going to be a blue dragon with sunflowers around it, or if it is going to be kind of like a yellowish, brownish dragon. I'm not sure. So I guess we'll kind of find out like the, I don't know, like the secrets of the releases, I guess. It's kind of like a little game. Anyway, this one so far, and this is my focus for today, I really need to get caught up. So there is that. I have one more, and then I have some crochet, and I started a new book. So this next one is Dragon and Friends. This is from my Etsy shop as well. This is one of my very first patterns that I made. And this time what I did is I started working on her lace. Let me see if it'll zoom. Yep, I started working on her lace dress right here. I almost finished it. There's a huge section that I worked on this time. I'm not quite there. I have like five symbols-ish maybe to finish on it. So I'll try and show, yeah, this. So here, I did this section right here. Again, another like 3-ish hour like stitching session. My daughter does gymnastics, and her practice is 3 hours at a time. And so anytime I go to practice, I get like a really good, like quiet audiobook listening stitching session. It's great. So a lot of kind of confetti in the lace section, but it's almost done. Almost done. I have some blue symbols in here, a couple of these symbols in her armpit right here, blue symbols, and some of this orange and red, and that's it. Then it's done. So I'm not going to take it out of the hoop because I am almost done with that section. I really want to get it finished. This was the wheel spin for this week. But here she is so far, and I love her. You know, I don't think I have any complaints about any of my stamped kits of my own designs. Imagine that. All the designs that I create are in my own head, obviously, so I hope I love them because they're things that like I thought of. But anyway, it's looking so good. Even the trees in the background are looking really, really good. And I think as soon as I get done stitching her armpit right here, I don't think I want to work on her hair yet. I'm kind of tired of the confetti of the hair. So I think I'm going to come over here and stitch this like either background or stitch some of her dress down here. I'm not sure which. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Or maybe I'll do this top corner. Yeah, this top corner needs finished. Maybe I'll just come and do background to finish up, because this part is stitched right here, but not up here. So maybe I'll just stitch this corner, get it over with. I don't know. But here's the whole thing. And again, this is stitched, this is an 11 count stamp kit that I stitched 6 strand 10 stitch. So yeah, everything I stitch is 10 stitch pretty much. Okay, that is it for all the stitching. I did do some crochet. It's like 36 degrees Fahrenheit here today. So I've really been starting to get into the crochet mood. And I tend to do that when it gets a little bit colder. And so, last time I talked about my 6-day star blanket. I think it's from Betty McKnit, I believe is the pattern name. I'll link it in the description box down below. Last time I talked about it, I had messed up and I had to pull out like 9 rows, which was so sad. But I finally got over it, and I put the rows back in. And so far so good. It's looking really good. It's super, super soft, and I'm loving how the colors are turning out. And then this is stitched with all different colors of loops and threads, ombre douce. I don't know if that's exactly how you say it. It's soft ombre polyester blend. So I got this at Michael's. and it's super, super soft. So far I've just been using 1 or 2 colors. It's, if I can get it to lift up, it's this color right here. It's got a little bit of pink, orange, blue, and purple-ish. And then I've been alternating it with this just gray and white color. It's got a little bit of blue in there too. But then as soon as this color is done, I'll be switching to this color, which is like a green, purple, very light. The light. There we go. That's the color. It is. So I've been trying to work on that. It is kind of hard to kind of get in a groove. Like once you figure out what the next like line of the stitching is, because it does repeat, but it's like a 9-row repeat. So it's like kind of gets a little cumbersome. I think I need to like keep track of what row I'm on, so that way it's easier for me to like know where I'm at, because I don't have this as a printed pattern. I'm just using my phone. And so I think if I was to actually write down where I left off, it'd be a lot easier for me to pick it back up. And then I have been crocheting some stuff for my daughter. She has requested a sweater. So I almost got one panel done. So I thought this would be the right size. It's not quite long enough. It's long enough in the sense that she can't lift her arms. And I'm not really good at getting my edges straight. I am by no means like a good cross stitcher, but as soon as I block it and stitch it together with the back panel, it'll be fine. Actually, this is the back panel. I'm stitching the front panel right now. But this is using the same yarn. It's just a little bit of a different color. It's this color right here, more pink and purple and blue. And I did start the next panel, and this is just a pattern I'm making up myself. So yeah, I did start this one, and it is going to be a almost like a sweatshirt thing. And then of course I have to have a million projects going at once, because you know me, I'm no different with other like hobbies than I am with cross stitch. I have like 5 million things going on. But I decided to start a little sweater for myself, or sweater shirt-ish. So here I'm just doing a round collar, and it's top down. So I'm just doing a little bit of a round. I'll come down to here, and then I will connect it and start doing the body. But so far I'm just doing the yoke right now is what it's called. And this is using, I think this is Lion Brand. This is the Lion Brand. It's very fluffy, and I the kids lost my label. Surprise, surprise. They peel it off. So I don't even remember what this is called. But again, I got this at Michael's, and this is Lion Brand something. So, but it is very, very soft. Okay, and that is it for crochet. And then last thing is I decided, so a couple months ago I finished book number 1 of this. It was the Cruel Prince is the first book, and I normally listen to audiobooks. I'm not a very good reader, and so I don't read books very often. I get very distracted by noise, and I then will be reading on the page but focusing on whatever is happening around me. So I'm trying to, I don't know why I can't see my thing. Anyway, so I finished that, and it was so good. It hooked me within the first chapter, and that's really hard to do for a book for me. So I did buy this as soon as I finished that first book. But I hadn't started it yet. So I actually just started this a couple days ago. So far it's a tiny bit slower than the first book, but so far I'm really liking it. This is by Holly Black, and the first book, without giving away any spoilers, is basically about a trio of sisters who end up being taken from the human land and put into like a fairyland, with a bunch of different rules and ways of living, and they have to basically go about trying to survive and go through growing up in a new land, basically. And then this one, I can't really say much because I'm not far into it, but definitely good so far. And I'm really liking reading before bed because it puts me to sleep. Basically, I get very tired sleeping or reading. So it's been kind of nice to read a physical book again. So that is it. My only other thing that I wanted to mention is I am going to be having 2 new starts. I plan on starting, let's see, Blackbird Sampler. I will zoom in, by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. I'm planning on starting this with Sally and Abby. Super cute sampler. I'm not normally a huge sampler fan, but this one in particular really caught my eye. So what I am doing is I actually didn't really know, because this calls for specialty floss. It's like over dyed floss. And I don't have any. So what I decided to do is I grabbed some 3865. I had a bunch of big skeins of it, and I decided to try and hand dye it. So I'm currently hand dyeing it, and to give you an idea of the color, I'm calling it Unicorn Barf. Yeah, I just started dyeing it last night. So I tried dyeing it, letting it sit for a little bit, and then I tried rinsing it out, and it still hadn't soaked or sat in the dye for long enough. So I then dyed it again, and it's been sitting overnight. So I'm going to be rinsing it later today to see how that looks, and if it turns out great, then I'll use that, and if not, then I'll need to go to a store and get like some specialty floss. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to try it out and see. I've dyed fabric, but I haven't dyed floss, which apparently is a lot harder to do. So anyway, I'll be doing that. And then the next one that I want to get, which I haven't purchased yet, but will be, because it's gorgeous, is by Sprouting Lupin. And I just saw this pattern release, and I'm in love with this. I have her like graveyard pattern in my stash that I am currently stitching. Oh, just be careful. And I absolutely love it. And yeah, stay over there, please. And I saw this one, and I absolutely love it. Everything about it. So I'm going to be purchasing this one and starting this one this week, I think. So, all right. Thank you all so much for joining me and listening to me spiel about all my stuff. I really appreciate hanging out with all of you. And thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, liking, and commenting, having chit chats with me. I really love it. But yeah, I hope you all stay safe, stay warm, and take care. Bye.